Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Here on Show Style and Spirit, I am Ebony, of course. And as you can see from the title of this video, Lexi has come out with her chapter 2, part 2, chapter 3. Bio Dad regarding Chris Fletcher. And according to her, reportedly, her stepmom, Nell Fletcher, paid Chris's $20,000 child support debt so that he would not have to go to jail. So Nell really is standing by her man, okay? I thought Hillary Clinton stood by Bill. I thought, lots of other people stood by their man so graciously, but no. Nell Fletcher takes the cake, and she paid $20,000 for that cake. Now, before we get into it all, I ask that you please hit the like button on this video and please subscribe to the channel. Everything that I'm saying in this video is alleged and just my opinion. All right, so during the part 2 video of chapter 3, Lexi's biological dad, Chris Fletcher, she talks about, the family visiting her when she gave birth to her son, her eldest child. And she said that whenever the family would go to Nashville to visit Lexi and her son, they would always go shopping afterwards. She said that they loved going to the luxury mall in Nashville. My initial thought to this was that the bribe for getting the family to attend? Was that sort of like the trade off for them taking time out to travel to Nashville to see their relative, their sibling, her stepdaughter, Lexi? Chris Fletcher had to say, if you all go to Nashville and you chit chat with her and you're nice, we can go shopping afterwards. That was my initial thought. So Lexi is definitely laying out something that I've said on previous videos, that the Fletcher kids were taught to be materialistic, in my opinion. I get that I do not know them personally, but based off of what they show on the reality TV show Love and Marriage Huntsville, based on the content that the Fletcher kids give the producers to edit, it appears that they are very materialistic. And I think that that is something that Chris and Nell Fletcher has taught them, to the point where, Nell complains heavily about their spending habits, yet they all work. I believe that they spend their paychecks on their materialistic desires, and then they rely on their parents to help them meet their basic necessities, the mortgage or the rent, utilities, insurance, groceries, gas. Now, Lexi said that over the years, Chris Fletcher did not call or text her. She recalls getting a couple of text messages over the years. She said that she would make the effort to reach out to Chris. And I believe that that just comes from a normal desire to be loved. She knows that this person is a part of the reason why she is in the world. And I think that that is a natural desire to be loved. I do think that humans, man, woman, we were designed to desire love, because probably if you did not have that desire for love, I'm scared to think of what would take its place. You know what I'm saying? Something dark, something negative, something strong and negative. So I think that that's very normal, that she wanted a relationship with him and reached out to him. I just hate the negative ways that he made her feel. And by the end of the video, she's going to express that very vividly, and she's going to get emotional. Now, when Lexi had her son, she was very busy. She was in school and she worked multiple jobs. She said, daycare was $250 a week. Now, I don't have any children, so of course I'm like, whoa, that's, $1,000 a month. And really slightly over that, because only February has like an even 4 weeks, 28 days. And then every 4 years, February has a 29th day. But the rest of the months of the year have 30 and 31 days. So if you are a numbers person like me, then you know that's slightly over $1,000 a month that she paid in daycare. So Lexi was saying, one job just went towards the daycare and she worked multiple jobs to pay her bills. She said that she understood that she was a mother, and she said she just stood in that and said, I am an adult and I have to take care of myself and my child. So, once she became a mom and she would go visit her dad, Chris Fletcher, she told him, I just have two requests. That when I drive down and it's time for me to come back home, you fill my gas tank up. And whenever we go out to eat, Dad, I need you to pay for it because, this would become an added expense and I'm already a mother. And he was willing to do those two things for her. So that's good that he did do that. And she's not petty because she acknowledged that he did meet those requests. Now, Lexi isn't clear what Chris did for money before he worked in real estate. And, when she was in her early 20s, she thinks that he was the CFO at Nell's daycare, the chief financial officer. That is a very, big position in a normal, corporate American job in the white collar area of the workplace. That is a huge job, chief financial officer. So I'm not really sure what kind of duties she gave him or if that was just a vanity title. But, it sounds like Nell Fletcher was bringing in the money at that time. That would have been 10 years ago, over 10 years ago. And she gives him a title, and then probably also that helped with her being self-employed because with him having a title, she could, put him on payroll and pay, money back into her household through his title. I just instantly think of like any possible tax benefits for her to make her husband the CFO. And and again, I don't know them personally, and it's not like I've conversed with Chris Fletcher to say, oh yeah, I could totally see him being a CFO of a company. So he just gives, especially because like it seems like they've taught their kids to be materialistic. I just can't imagine if he'd really know accounting and everything that goes into, being a CFO. If you've ever watched the video that I made about my brother, we're 18 years apart. He passed away when a blood clot traveled to his lung. He was CFO of a company, and he earned his degree from Jackson State in accounting. So when she said that, I said, "Oh my gosh!" And then I'm like, "But I don't know, Chris Fletcher. Like, did he study accounting?" I was just curious, but I thought that was very interesting that he was CFO of the daycare. And Lexi talked about this, and she talks about how her Nashville dad and her mom created memories for her and her siblings. It wasn't so much about materialistic things, it was memories. And then when she talked about going to visit Chris Fletcher with her son, the memory of, she was like sort of the early riser in the Fletcher family, waking up at about 8 a.m., showering, getting dressed, getting her baby ready. And then they would go downstairs and watch TV and she'd play with her son. And the rest of the family would be asleep. She said that her siblings and stepmom get up about 11 a.m. She said that Chris Fletcher would wake up even earlier than 8 a.m., go to the gym, work out, come back, get dressed, and then fix breakfast. And she said that when he would come back after he worked out, showered and dressed, while he's fixing breakfast, she said it would just be him, her, and her son. And she said it would be about 15 minutes where it's just the three of them. If you watched Lexi's part one, chapter 3 video about her dad, she talked about how the only time she spent a lot of time alone with her dad was when he took those Christmas gifts over to an alleged mistress for Lexi to open. And Lexi watched my commentary video that I made on that, and she clarified for me the mystery woman. in the comments. She said the reason why she didn't say who this person was in the video was because she felt like it was her mom's story to tell. I totally understand that. And I pinned her comment just so that everyone could see who that mystery woman was. And it just tripped me out because in my video, I'm thinking out loud. I'm wondering, is it an aunt? Is it a cousin? Is it a neighbor? And I say, because I know he ain't crazy enough to take his baby over to a mistress house. And doggone it, I guess he was. Because according to Lexi, that's who the mystery woman was. But anyway, that was her last time having a moment with it was just her and her dad. So now fast forward, she's an adult, she's a mom, and she said he would like hold his grandson while like, cooking the eggs. And for about 15 minutes, it would just be the three of them. And I thought that was like a precious memory. So let's talk about Lance Fletcher's first wife. So Lexi was visiting down in Huntsville about once a month. And once Lance was engaged the first time, his then fiance asked Lexi to be in the wedding. So she said, she went from visiting about once a month to twice a month. I hope that that made Lexi feel special and a part of the family. I think that was very nice of his first wife to ask her to do that. And once Lance got married that first time, that marked the moment when things went downhill between Lexi and her dad. So she's talked about in previous videos where her car was parked outside of their home when someone damaged her window. She said that they were apologetic and she was promised that they would fix the window. It did not happen at the house that we see on the TV show LAMH. Well, one weekend, Lexi goes to visit the Fletchers and they are at Home Depot. She said that they're getting blinds, and Lexi said, she's like, "What are you doing? You have blinds." And they're like, "Yeah, but we need them for the whole house." And she said she was thinking, "What? No, you don't. You have nice blinds." Well, the Home Depot bill came to $2,000. And Lexi said she was wondering, like, oh my gosh, if you have $2,000 to spend at Home Depot, what about my window? Very good question, Lexi. Well, she said that she just followed them because she didn't really know how to get to the house from Home Depot. When she followed them to their new home, which is the home that we see on the show, she said it was absolutely gorgeous. Now, they bought this new home at the same time that Lance was getting married, and they foot the bill. So let's just talk about perspective here. So you have with a house, there is the down payment, there is the closing cost, like the property tax bill that's due at that time that the buyer is responsible for because they will be now occupying the home. There's the homeowner's insurance that is due at closing, to go towards the premium, any county tax stamps, the appraisal, if you haven't already paid for that with your debit or credit card, the flood certification, the title fees to close on the home, that's going to be some thousands of dollars. Now, Lexi said that they bought the home 8 to 9 years ago. So that's around 2016, 2017. Homes were still like the values were not where they were today because of the recession, but they weren't like super duper cheap. I'm just giving perspective. Like they came out of their pockets several $1,000s. And at the same time, Lance Fletcher was getting married. And we all know that the wedding industry is just one big pimpology, okay? At least $40 per plate at the reception. And you're getting rings, you're paying for the DJ, flowers, the cake, the decorations, the limo, all sorts of things. And we haven't even gotten to the attire. So they were footing the bill for Lance's wedding plus a down payment and closing costs on a new home. But they did not get around to fixing her window that was damaged when someone broke in at their former home. So Lexi isn't stupid. She is thinking in her mind, okay, they're paying for this wedding, they've gotten a new home. So when she asked her dad, if they had something on it, she said that, Chris is still saying, oh, they'll take care of it. But her dad in Nashville, Miss Cornelia's husband, he took care of Lexi's damaged window. And when she returned to Huntsville, none of the Fletcher family members acknowledged the repair of the window. And that really upset Lexi. And I totally get it. And I feel like the lack of acknowledging that it was repaired is to avoid, I think it means a couple of things. It's to avoid the discussion of possibly reimbursing her Nashville dad for stepping up to the plate and doing what, Chris should have done. And number two, it would also be an admission that, he didn't take care of it. Now, if you go to like Safe Flight, that might be roughly $500. I don't know if they were insuring Lexi's car to write up a claim and, pay the like vandalism comprehensive deductible or whatever, but they did not take care of that. So that is a shame, but she wanted to give that example of them like not coming through. Now, Lexi talked about Chris would promise her as a kid that he would attend different activities that she had, like cheer competitions, and he would be a no-show. I said in my previous video that what Lexi has basically experienced was rejection over and over and over. And being a no-show is a form of rejection. And I want to say that it's therapeutic to speak from your heart and to express yourself. So I'm so happy for Lexi that she found the courage and the motivation to speak her life story. I've seen a couple of comments, and I think it's just from people who may not have done the work themselves, or they may not follow therapists and people who have studied about self-improvement. And some people have said like, oh, I hope you're in therapy and not just on YouTube. And Lexi has said, if you're concerned about me being in therapy, you can most certainly send me some money, because yes, the therapy does cost. But I think what people don't understand is expressing yourself is also therapeutic. And you actually find your voice, you activate the voice chakra from going to therapy, because that is someone who's listening to you. They are not interrupting you, they are not yelling at you. And they are not trying to manipulate you, via gaslighting. And they are saying, yeah, such and such was a bully. They help you see things more clearly. Therapy is like a full length mirror, and you get to talk and see yourself more clearly. So I think that it's a very natural move for someone who has experienced all of the benefits of going to therapy. It seems like a very natural transition to start a YouTube channel or some sort of social media page where you can connect with people and share your life story, and they may also be able to relate. So I find, and I want to say this too, I'm going to probably make a poll on my community tab, especially with, like, you think of money, you think of priorities, right? And I would have thought of her damaged window as a priority. I'm not saying that paying for a wedding is not a priority, but that is aesthetics, that is optics. And I mean, no shade, but he got married again, right? Like, did they pay for that one? Like, that's so expensive. So I just totally do not disagree. I totally do not disagree with Lexi, and I do not agree with them not paying for that bill to the window. I think that that is ridiculous and trifling, and they should have been very embarrassed. But this is another example of the disparate treatment that Lexi was receiving and that she has been talking about. Now, Lexi quit a stressful job, and she asked Chris for $500 to $700 for college books for her last semester in college. She asked for a loan. She wasn't even asking for the money outright. She was asking her dad to loan her the money for college books and she would pay him back. And guess what? Lexi also told him, if you want me to sign something like a promissory note, she said, I'll do that. She wanted him to know in good faith, I plan on paying you back and I'll even sign something. So if you need to take me to Judge Mathis, you have proof that I did agree to pay you back. Oh my gosh. I think that's a wonderful child, a wonderful young adult child. She asked Chris, her dad, for the money for college books, and Nell said that they didn't have it. We don't have it right now. We just bought this house and we're paying for Lance's wedding. Again, that is ridiculous. The college books is the priority. The college books is the priority, hands down. As someone who has gone to college and you have the tuition, room and board, you have books every semester, and they are expensive. And everybody, regardless of race, was talking about that. And if you were like a nurse major, like the girls in my dorm that were the nursing majors, their books, oh my gosh. So I think that that's ridiculous that he couldn't man up. I felt like Nell had him by the balls. She had him by the balls. And I think that because, there was the mystery woman mistress that had all of Lexi's Christmas gifts. I think because of the alleged running around, Nell totally took that anger out on Lexi. But see, Lexi is not the result of him cheating on you, Nell. You disrupted Lexi's life being the alleged side chick when he was married to her mom. So I don't know why you would take anything out on Lexi. It seems like if anything, you'd be mad at yourself every time that you look at her. But I just think that that's ridiculous. And I know Nell would have never not helped Kayla with any college books. That's pathetic. So Lexi, once they wouldn't pay for her college books, and that was a loan, she did not speak to them for about 3 years. And Miss Cornelia took Chris to court for unpaid child support. And, the punishment could be you would go to jail if you did not pay. Nell paid the child support debt, according to Lexi, of $20,000 so Chris would not go to jail. And let's just do a little math. We're going to go back to Lexi's beautiful face. But I did do some typing, okay, because I am a numbers gal. So we got $20,000 in child support. I just want to give some perspective of how low that amount of money is. So you have, let's just, a kid is 18. And Lexi did say that her mom took Chris to court once she went to college in Missouri and she was 18 years old. So there's 12 months in a year times 18 years. That gives you 216 months. And $20,000 divided by 216 months equals just $92.59. Now, of course, have I seen any documents confirming how much he was ordered to pay for Lexi every month? No. But that $20,000 bill just amounts over 18 years to just $92. That's just so low. I feel like $20,000 ain't hardly enough to cover caring for a child for 18 years. But oh my gosh, one of my friends, we went to high school and college together. When she divorced and her ex-husband wasn't trying to pay, it was an $8,000 bill due. And I remember we were sitting at the bar and she said, and I don't know, he may go to jail. She was over it. She didn't care. Her former mother-in-law withdrew from her 401k and paid the $8,000 bill. These women caping for these men, absolutely ridiculous. This is why they never change. And what's amazing is that, some men, some black men, not generalizing, some of them, they are so quick to say what black women can do better. Marty Marr claims he wasn't getting enough oral when he was married to the lovely Melody Cherie. He wasn't getting enough oral. Take care of your husband. Y'all know those earlier seasons, he would talk to his uncles and his friends, take care of your husband. And, they talk about how Black women wear our hair, the hair length, the body, all of that. But Black women, once she loves a man, she will do so much to, keep him at a good status. Because to owe $20,000 for a kid that's 18, that's not a good status. But Nell made him whole by paying that bill. That's just utterly ridiculous. I wish I would, child. But anyway, Lexi talked about if she would ask Chris for something, he'd run it by Nell and she'd say no. So Nell was clearly running Chris, running the household. And I just think, what is it about Chris that would drive Nell so crazy that she takes everything out on his kid? I feel like there's no DICK that can be that good where it makes you lose your mind. I'm sorry, I just don't think so. Now, Lexi talked about, for the Fletchers, material items equal status and power. And I totally felt like this confirmed what I've said in previous videos about the family being materialistic. But to be a part of the gang, if you will, Lexi said when she would visit Huntsville that she would kind of lean into that. And she said that her dad, Chris, has been in real estate for the past 6 years. And she said that once he became a realtor, things really took off for them. And she said again, they've been in their current house for about 8 to 9 years. And Lexi talked about, not wanting the luxury car. It wasn't about the items itself. It was not about the material possessions, but it was the action. It was the willingness, because love is an action word. And so when you want pay for your kid's damaged window and she has a young baby and she was at your house when somebody vandalized it, that's not showing love because the action isn't there. When you will not loan her money to buy books for college, that it looks like an indicator that there is no love there, because love is an action word. And again, she is experiencing rejection over and over. And in previous videos, she's talked about Nell taking her along with the kids on shopping trips and buying all of the kids something except Lexi. In my opinion, to me, from what Lexi is saying, it appears as though Nell wanted Lexi to feel the rejection. And I think that that's awful. Why do you want to harm, especially a child, that much? And if you're so in love with her dad, you should see Lexi as an extension of that love, as an extension of that relationship. I would never want to go out of my way to reject a child of someone whom I care for deeply and I love and I want to share my life with them. I want all of the dots to connect. And I want the kid to feel like I care about them as well. I will want us to bond at some point to some extent and feel like a family. And Lexi said that, Chris just made her feel like she was not a priority. And Chris made her feel unworthy of his love and unworthy of his protection. And shame on Chris for making his daughter feel that way. And she said that every single time that Chris Fletcher crosses her mind, she actively chooses to forgive him. That makes sense to me because therapists say that healing is not linear. You're going to have days where, you think of the pain and it may depress you, it may make you angry. It doesn't mean that you've relapsed from your healing. It just means that you're human. And so that makes sense. And that's good that Lexi isn't sitting in those feelings of pain and sadness and anger, but she makes the choice to forgive him. I think that's awesome. And Lexi said that it was disgusting and deplorable to use her for a storyline during that infamous dinner scene at their home where they brought up her mother and production did not show us that. And Lexi went off. And that's why it's so important when we do not have a lot of context, just before we judge, we can say, and we haven't seen all sides. We just know from what we've seen, this is what happened at the dinner scene. But I'm just glad that Lexi has spoken and started her YouTube channel because it's not just about exposing the Fletchers, it's not just about clarifying the dinner scene, but it really literally is about helping people who can relate to rejection, who can relate to, absentee parents, who can relate to not so perfect family dynamics. And some people, especially in our community, they walk around and they have not expressed their pain and they may have been violated and they don't talk about it. And it's a lot. So Lexi's story is very inspiring, even on the level for you to just get it out. And she called Chris a sorry example of a father, and she acknowledged the presence of her stepdad. She calls him her Nashville father of being in her life. And she said, if I didn't have him, I don't know how things would have turned out. And she said to her viewers, Lexi said that we are deserving of love and respect. And I totally agree. And she said, to cut the negative people off. And I add to that, regardless of blood relation, regardless of how you know them, if they can't respect you, they're not deserving of your presence. And Lexi said that there is a blessing on the other side in this type of freedom. Lexi, I thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I really enjoyed this video and it really spoke to me, ministered to me, encouraged me. And I thank you all for watching this video. Please hit the like button on this video as it is a free way of supporting the channel. And please subscribe to Show Style and Spirit if you have not already done so. I hope that you all are having a great start to the weekend. I got out for a little bit, a few hours, and then came home and created some content. I believe I'll make another video tonight or I'll do it, tomorrow. And tomorrow starts March 1st. We are entering the third month of the year. February was good to me, much better than January because January I was still sick. But I felt much better in February. The cough still lingers, but feeling much better. And my birthday was fun. So February was good to me. And now we're on to March, longer days and warmer temperatures, something to look forward to. And I will talk with you all soon. Bye.